Good morning. This is Bob and Kitty Belindis of Santa Clarita, California. Today we're going to show you how we fertilize our 350 roses. That's a pretty large residential garden, but our method could work with people who have 50 roses or more. Now, we used to feed our roses with either dry granular, or if we wanted to feed a liquid like fish emulsion or Miracle-Gro or something, we would have to carry around this large bucket here and feed each one by one. Well, that got to be a lot of work because it would just be very back-breaking to carry them around to each bush, and very expensive too, and time-consuming. So our method that we're going to show you today with the big barrel and a submersible pump, we're going to show you how we feed them all. Bob is going to show you what this pump looks like that you can get at any hardware store or home improvement store. So it's a submersible pump. Now, some of the things that we put in there, you wouldn't put a granular in there, but we have water-soluble fertilizers, something like this one here, and we use fish emulsion and iron chelate and Super Thrive and Dr. Earth and liquid kelp. Different products like that is what you would do, because you buy them in concentrate and mix them up in the big barrel. Now, normally you would put like a tablespoon per gallon of water for each bush, and maybe use 2 buckets for the large bushes. Our bushes, our hybrid teas, are very tall right now. So, but with our method, you get a big barrel. This one happens to be about 60 gallons, and you can buy those at a feed store, someplace like that. And or you could use just a 32-gallon trash barrel or something, whatever you like. But for our method, since we have so many roses, we use this large one, and we have to fill it up 4 times to feed all of our roses. And this takes about an hour and a half. So we'll show you what we do. So what we do is then for this 60-gallon barrel, we would use about a 4 cup of this water-soluble fertilizer, and then what we do so that it will disintegrate is that we'll take a bucket, and we'll put that in there with hot water and let it dissolve first. We dissolve it in there before we pour it into the large 60-gallon. That way we know that all the water-soluble fertilizer is dissolved and it doesn't clog up the pump. Now, we also, first we need a hose that's going to be, we fill up this big barrel. And once we fill it up and have put our fertilizer in there, again, it translates about 1 gallon or 1 tablespoon of fertilizer per gallon. So then once we fill it up and we're ready to go, then what we do is we have a water wand on the end of the hose, so that way we can disperse this fertilizer to each of our bushes. Now Bob is going to he's going to plug in the pump because it doesn't really have an on-off switch, and it's going to get going. And what he will do is that as he walks along to each bush, he will count to about 15 seconds or 20 seconds for each large bush, and to about 8 seconds for the small miniature roses in pots. So then he's waiting for it to get primed right now to start coming out. Sometimes it takes a few seconds. And once it gets going, do you have it going, Bob? We also have an on-off switch at the end of the water wand. See, he can turn this on. There it is. Now it's coming out. Finally it's coming out. But he can turn that switch on and off if he needs to stop. You want to show that, Bob? Yeah. So he turns it off if he needs to stop. Okay, turn it back on. Now he's going to go over to one of the bushes and just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. He'll count up to 15 or whatever he thinks each bush needs. And then he'll go to the next bush. Now if he needs to stop, he'll turn it off. Okay, let's turn it off. And let's go over and show how we do the potted miniature roses on the rack over there. Okay, so he's then going to go down to the potted roses and just count to about 5 and move on to the next, and move on to the next. And that's about it. He just goes around the whole garden, and what will happen is he has to move this barrel. Since our garden is large with 350 roses, we usually start in the front yard and then we go to the back, and we probably have to move a barrel several times. But for a smaller garden, if you only have 50 or 100, you could place this big barrel into whatever central location you like. Now he's unplugged the pump. You don't want to keep it running when you run out. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any other suggestions, Bob?
No, none.
None that he can think of. I'm usually the one that does this feeding. He helps me get it set up, but he's the star of the show today. And I also like to use gloves all the time because I don't like to get my hands stained with fish emulsion or the blue water soluble or any of those. And these are some of my favorite products. For the blue water soluble, you can use Grow More or Miracle Grow or any brand that you can get a hold of. Peters, there's a lot of them out there. And we buy them in large quantities, large 20-pound bags, some of them, because it's more cost effective. So during show season or blooming season, we do a liquid feed to all of our roses once a week. But now during the summer, we only do it occasionally, and then we will also put down dry organics in between. But we like to blend a lot of organic material with the other water solubles. And so our roses, as you can see, are pretty well fed. They're healthy. And this is some of our garden here. And we also have a token tomato that's doing very well. And we pretty much feed it what the roses get. And here's some more of our garden. This is June 27th. And it's been pretty hot this week, but they're all happy. So that's pretty much what we do, and we do have an article on this method on our website at www.scvrs.homestead.com if you want to read more in detail. Otherwise, just enjoy the video, and we hope you learned something from it. Thank you.